Hey boys and girls, I'm going to go ahead and show you where you can find your assignment for lesson 905 in math called sharing fractions, and we're going to go over a couple problems on how to do, a couple problems on your worksheet as a model. You're going to start by going into your math course. We're looking for module 9 and we're looking for lesson 905. Make sure you click on the blank page icon. Make sure you go through all 6 pages of this lesson. There are lots of examples that can help you understand the concepts that are in the lesson, and as well as some problems that are on your worksheet. And especially I'll point out one page of the lesson that'll be very important when it comes to one of the problems on your worksheet. And we'll get to that once we look at the worksheet here. On the last page of your lesson, you'll have your assignment under what is my assignment. Here it's called sharing fractions. So I'll open that up. This is a 1-page worksheet with 5 problems. Number 1 through 4, you're using the fraction models that are already provided here for you to help you solve these division problems. And I'm going to go over a couple of these as a model. Number 5, you're writing a story to represent the equation 1/2 divided by 3. You're going to solve the equation as well, and then you're going to use multiplication to explain why the answer you found is correct. And we'll look at number 5 once I do a couple of these examples. All right, so for our example, I'm going to do 2 and 3 because those are together, one after another, and for 2 you got your fraction bar, 3 you've got your number line. All right, so for number 2, we're doing 1/5 divided by 2. So to start, and we're going to use this fraction bar to help us. To start, we're going to look at our fraction, and we're going to break our fraction bar into this many pieces. So we're going to look at the denominator, and it's a 5. So our fraction bar needs to be divided up into 5 pieces. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so there we've got our 5 pieces. We've got 1/5 here, 1/5 here, 1/5 here, 1/5 here, 1/5 here. Okay, and now we're going to look at what we're dividing by, which is a 2, and we're going to break each of these 5 pieces up into 2. So there's 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, so now each of our fifths are divided up into 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now let's look at how many we have total. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 10 total pieces now. When we took each of our fifths and divided them into half, we now have tenths. So if we're taking our 1/5, let's just look at 1/5, and we divided it into 2, what are we left with? 1 out of how many? 10. So 1/10. 1/5 divided by 2 is equal to 1/10. Okay, so that's how you would use a fraction model to solve a fraction divided by a whole number. 1/5 divided by 2. Okay, I'm just going to erase that line there so we can use the number line for number 3. So for number 3, we're doing 1/3 divided by 5. So we're going to start by breaking our number line into that fraction, which is 1/3, so into thirds. So I'm going to break from 0 to 1 into thirds. Okay, there we go. And each of those thirds need to be broken up into 5. Let's label that. So 1/3. This would be 2/3, and then 1 whole would be 3/3, or 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. Okay, now each of these thirds need to be broken up into 5, divided into 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so now each of our thirds are broken up into 5 pieces. So now let's see how many pieces we've got together. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at 1/3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 at 2/3, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15 at 3/3. So we've got 15 total, and these would be fractions. 15 fifteenths, which is equal to 1 whole, 14 fifteenths, 13 fifteenths, 12 fifteenths. So we've just made smaller fractions here. 11 fifteenths, 10 fifteenths, which is equivalent or equal to 2/3, 9 fifteenths, 8 fifteenths, 7 fifteenths, and so on. I'm going to just jump down to 1 15th. We'll do 2 15ths too. Okay, so all of those are in 15ths now. So we are looking at just 1/3. So we're doing 1/3. Let's draw a circle just around this 1/3. And 1/3 divided by 5, we'll divide it into 5 pieces. One of those right here, one of those 5 pieces of 1/3 is 1/15th. So 1/3 divided by 5 is 1/15th. Now, in the last video for the last assignment, I showed you how you could check your division problems. So let's check this work to see if we did it correct. We've got 1/5 divided by 2. Now remember, the inverse or the opposite of division is multiplication. Our first number stays the same. Okay, so 1/5 stays the same. Our division turns into multiplication. Our 2, okay, our 2, which can be written as 2/1, still equal to 2. Any number over 1 is that whole number. So 2/1 is equal to 2. We have to flip this second number. So we're going to flip it so it's 1/2. Multiply across, you get 1/10. Is that the same answer we got when we're doing our number model? It sure is. Let's check our answer for number 3. Number 3, we're doing 1/3 divided by 5. Okay, so 1/3 stays the same. Your first number always stays the same. Division turns to multiplication. And then our 5 can be written as 5/1, still the same as 5 wholes. We flip that second fraction so that it's 1/5. Multiply across, you get 1/15th. Is that the same answer we did using the number model or the number line? It sure is. Okay, so that's 2 and 3. I'm going to stop there and let's look at number 5. I'm not going to do number 5 for you because there's only one problem. I like to do a problem and then you have a problem to do, but I am going to give you some hints, clues, and some ideas of what you need to do here. So number 5, you're writing a story to represent the equation 1/2 divided by 3. So just like how you had done on a previous worksheet, you're writing a story. Oh, that was not a good line there. You're writing a story representing 1/2 divided by 3. So think of 1/2 as something that you can divide up, a chocolate bar, a cake, a pizza. So you're going to use a half of a chocolate bar, a half of a pizza, a half of a cake, and you're dividing that half into 3 pieces. So by 3 people, by 3 sisters, it's up to you, however you want to write that problem out. You're going to write the story, so you're going to write it here, and then you're also going to solve the equation. So make sure you have your answer here as well. And I'm going to give you a page of the lesson that you should look at for this. So for this problem, there's a great example on page 4 of the Buzz lesson that you can go look at, and it provides an example on how to write a number story using a fraction divided by a whole number. So go to page 4 of the Buzz lesson and look at that. And then the last part of number 5 is use multiplication to explain why the answer you found is correct. Well, that's just like what I showed you with 2 and 3 when we were checking our answer. 1/2 divided by 3. Okay, what's the inverse of division? Multiplication. Your first number stays the same always, 1/2. 3, you can change to a fraction by putting it on putting a 1 underneath the 3. 3 over 1 is equal to 3 wholes. You're going to flip that second fraction. So it's 1/2 times 1/3. And then you would solve it. Okay, and that answer should be the same as the answer you get from your word story. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and exit. When you are done with the worksheet, boys and girls, you'll just go to the next page activity. You'll click on that blue plus button to submit your work.